Okay, children. Our next topic is energy sources and their applications. I told you under this lesson we are going to learn about what are the sources of energies and their applications. What is the meaning of applications, children? Yes, the uses of these different sources of energies. Okay. So the first topic is sun. Remember, children, sun is the main source of energy. When we learn about this sun as a source of energy, you will understand why we consider it as the main source of energy. Okay, children? We will go through this. Think of some of the activities you did today. Right. So what are the activities you do? After you wake up, you wash your body and you brush your teeth, and when you go to school and you engage in your studies, and during the interval you play with your friends, different activities that you engage with. So can you do any of these activities if you don't have enough energy? Just imagine if you are sick. Can you do any of these activities as normal days? You cannot. That is because you don't have the energy required to do these activities. So in the first part of the lesson, we learned that in order to do any work, any kind of activity, we need energy. And I already explained that some of these activities we can do with a little amount of energy, but certain other activities like running fast, playing team games, you need a lot of energy. Okay, children? So if you don't have sufficient energy, can you do them? We clearly cannot do those activities, right? So how do we get this energy? So even this part I explained earlier. So you get energy when you eat food. Right, children? When you eat food, that food reacts with the oxygen you inhale in your body, in the cells of the body. What happens, children? The food you eat, it reacts with the oxygen you inhale. Using your respiratory system, you can inhale oxygen, and oxygen and food mixes up really well inside the cells, and then energy is produced. So that energy produced is used to do our day-to-day activities. Understand, children? So it's very clear, you get that energy by eating food. If you don't eat sufficient amounts of food, you cannot produce these required amounts of energies. So by now you all must have learned under your health lessons that there are different types of nutrients present in food. Carbohydrates and lipids give you a lot of energy. I'm sure you must have learned these type of things. So what will happen if you don't eat enough energy giving food? You can't engage in your day-to-day activities efficiently, right? You will feel tired faster. Understand, children? So energy needed for these activities are supplied from the food you eat. Okay? Right. So food for all living beings is produced in green plants. Now, do you remember this part? Even this part was learned under the first lesson. Do you remember? We learned that when it comes to animals and plants, plants are considered as autotrophic organisms. That is because they can produce their own food. Okay, children? Autotrophic organisms means the organisms that can produce their own food. So plants can produce their own food, and this process of plants producing their own food is known as, what is the name, children? That is photosynthesis. Do you remember that we learned about 4 factors affecting photosynthesis? Now tell me, what are the 4 factors affecting photosynthesis, children? Yes, I think you remember this. The plant needs carbon dioxide gas. Carbon dioxide gas. And soil water. Soil water. And sunlight. And finally, a green color substance in plant leaves called chlorophylls. 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 Right? So the 4 main factors affecting photosynthesis. Now what is photosynthesis again? The process of plants producing their own food. Right? So photosynthesis takes place only if all these factors are available. Okay? So carbon dioxide, soil water, sunlight and chlorophylls. Understand children? So sunlight is one main factor affecting photosynthesis, right? So without the sun, photosynthesis will not take place. Understand children? So that is why it said food for all living beings. Food for all living beings is produced in green plants. Right? So what is the meaning of this sentence? Now when it comes to herbivores, they depend on green plants. So if green plants cannot produce food, these herbivores will die. What about the carnivores, children? Carnivores and omnivores, do they also depend on green plants? Again, under the same unit, under lesson 1, do you remember we learned that all the animals depend on green plants directly or indirectly. Do you remember that part? If you can't remember, I will show you how these animals can depend on green plants directly or indirectly. For example, let's say that we have some green plants. Now you all know that green plants can produce their own food, right? If there's a herbivore like a rabbit, what happens? This rabbit directly depends on this green plant. Okay, let's say the rabbit eats this plant. Okay, so the energy present in these green plants go into the rabbit. So rabbit gains its energy by eating green plants. Therefore, rabbit directly depends on green plants. Now, what about the other carnivores? Let's say another carnivore like a tiger. Right, let's say a tiger eats this rabbit. Then what happens? The energy present in the rabbit goes into the tiger. Okay, but how come tiger doesn't eat green plants? So how come the tiger depends on green plants then? Remember children, even though tiger does not directly depend on green plants, it still depends on this rabbit which produces its energy using the green plants, right? So when the tiger gets energy by consuming the rabbit, but rabbit has this energy because it consumed the energy given by the plant. So even though without knowing, tiger indirectly depends on the green plant. Indirectly depends on the green plant. So herbivores and omnivores can directly depend on green plants. Okay, herbivores and omnivores directly depend on green plants because they feed on plant-based food items. But what about carnivores like tiger, lion? They do not directly depend on green plants, but still they use the energy given by the other animals, right? So they indirectly depend on green plants. Okay, children. So now when it comes to green plants, how do these green plants produce their energy? By doing photosynthesis. So it's very clear, I explained you that there are 4 factors affecting photosynthesis. One of these factors is sunlight, right? So in order to produce this food, in order to carry out this photosynthesis, a certain amount of energy is necessary. That energy is given by the sun or sunlight. Okay, children. So if the sun is not there, if we don't get sunlight, can plants do this photosynthesis process? Can plants produce food without sunlight, children? It cannot. So what will happen? If it not for solar energy, if the sun is not there, these plants cannot produce its own food. It means it cannot do photosynthesis. Therefore, all the plants will die without food. So if all the plants will die, then all the herbivores will die because they don't have any food to eat. If all the herbivores will die, what will happen to the carnivores? They will obviously die without food. So it's very clear how important this sun in order to maintain life of earth. Okay, children. So it's why it says food for all living beings is produced in green plants. Sunlight is needed for the process of producing food in green plants. It's very clear now. Therefore, energy in food is derived from solar energy, right? So, energy present in food is actually gained from the solar energy, because solar energy is absorbed by the plants and plants produce food. That food was consumed by the animals directly or indirectly. So, therefore, what is the initial form of energy? Solar energy. Okay, children, that is why we consider sun as the main source of energy. Because if the sun's energy or solar energy is not there, Earth cannot survive. The living organisms cannot survive. Understand, children? Right. So apart from this one, what are the other uses of solar energy? Some of these examples we used before as well, to dry clothes, to dry substances, right? To cook food using solar thermal cookers, we use solar energy, right? Okay. So sun is the main natural energy source on the earth, and it's essential for the existence of life on earth. I already explained you, if the sunlight, the solar energy is not there, what will happen? Food chains. Now these are known as food chains. These are food chains. How these energy goes from one animal, one organism to another organism through food. Okay, these are known as food chains. Okay, children. So, it's essential for the existence of life on earth. This energy can be utilized in many ways, as in drying grains and drying wet clothes. We'll underline, we have already discussed these things. Solar energy can be used to dry grains, drying wet clothes as well. Right? Now look at this picture. What is this picture? You must have seen these type of instruments. Now these are known as solar water heaters, right? You must have seen these type of instruments are fixed on the roofs of some houses. What does it do? So using the solar energy, water can be heated by this equipment. Okay, children? So solar water heater which is fixed on the roofs of some houses can be used to heat water. Other than using electricity, we can use solar energy to heat water. Okay, children? So what are these equipments? These are known as solar panels, right? So some houses are powered by the solar panels. Now there are different ways that we can generate electricity. Okay, so most of the time in Sri Lanka, electricity is generated by hydropower plants using the energy contained in water. Okay, another way is solar panels. Using solar panels, now it's a certain type of battery. So these solar panels can convert, when sunlight falls onto these solar panels can convert the sunlight into electricity. Okay, children. So it is very important to use these type of solar panels. One thing is, you will never run out of solar energy. Therefore, solar energy is considered as a renewable energy source, which means we can obtain the solar energy again and again. Okay, children. So solar panels. Now initial cost, we need to fix these solar panels. Initial cost is high, right? But when we fix these solar panels, we don't have to pay any electrical bill like the other times. Okay, children. So it's one advantage that using solar panels, even though the initial cost is high, when you fix this one, you don't have to pay any electricity bill, right? Another advantage is, children, the environmental pollution takes place when you use these solar panels is minimized. Environmental pollution does not take place. Okay, children, this is another advantage towards the environment as well. So solar panels that are used to generate electricity obtain their energy from sunlight. As I told you, solar energy is converted to electrical energy using the solar panels. Okay. So even satellites obtain power from solar panels containing many solar cells. Satellites that orbit around the Earth, they have to collect information from different space objects, right? So they have to stay in the space for a long period of time. So how do they produce energy? They get energy by using the solar panels. So I think it's very clear now how important solar energy is in order to continue life and to do our day-to-day activities as well. Okay? Right. Right, children. We have an assignment to do. Prepare a list of instances where solar energy is used. Now, we already discussed many instances, many uses of solar energy. So, you all can write down the list first and then you can watch what I write here. Okay? Right. So, what are the instances where solar energy is used? We can use sun's heat to dry different things like dry grains and chili and to dry clothes. We will write some of them. To dry grains and chilies. To dry wet clothes. To dry wet clothes. And we learned that solar panels can be used to generate electricity. To generate electricity. To generate electricity. So here we will write using solar panels. Using solar panels. Okay? And to heat water. To heat water. Using solar. Examples. Solar water heater. Solar water heater. Okay? And we can use solar thermal cookers to cook food. That is also one instance we use it. To cook food. Example. Solar thermal cookers. Solar thermal cooker. Or stove. What else? Prepare a list of instances where solar energy is used. It doesn't specifically say that used by humans. Therefore, we will write for photosynthesis. Because plants use this. Photosynthesis. Okay? So to dry grains and chilies, to dry wet clothes, in day-to-day activities we use solar energy. To generate electricity, to heat water, to cook food, for photosynthesis. Okay, children? So you can write many examples where we use solar energy. Okay? Our second source of energy is biomass. What is the meaning of biomass? Let's go through this. Living materials can produce energy. Bio means living things, right? So living materials can produce energy. Think of a wildfire which occurs commonly during drought seasons. So how does a wildfire occur, children? So during the drought seasons, the environment is very dry. When the strong winds present, because of the winds, you all know that the branches of the trees move, and sometimes these branches rub with each other. Okay, children, these branches rub with each other. And you all know that when you rub two dry sticks, what happens? You can make fire, right? You can make fire by rubbing two dry sticks together. So the same things happen here. Because of the strong winds, these dry branches, when they rub with each other, what happens, children? It starts a fire. This is known as a bushfire or a wildfire. So what happens? It spreads from one tree to another tree. and thereby it spreads throughout the forest. Okay, so controlling of such fire is very difficult. You all know that in some countries, these wildfires, it continues for months as well, right? When there are very large areas of forest, in certain countries, these wildfires can last for about months, right? So, because dried leaves catch fire easily. So during drought season, what happens, children? The environment is very dry, including these plants. Okay, so such fires release a large amount of heat, right? So this proves that living parts can be used to produce energy. Living parts. Now when it comes to these plants, plants are considered as organisms or living beings. So under the first lesson, we learned that organisms can be divided into three main groups: plants, animals and microorganisms. Right, children? So plants are coming under living beings, living parts. Okay? So this proves that living parts can be used to produce energy. Heat is the type of energy. Because of wildfire, heat is produced. Wildfire occurs because of it actually starts from the living parts. Okay, children? So, such plant or animal materials which can be used as a fuel are known as biomass. If you can produce energy by burning something, that particular substance is known as a fuel, right? Fuel is something you can gain energy by burning, right? So remember, these living parts, certain living parts also can be used to produce energy by burning. So these type of things are used as fuel. So that is why it says plant or animal materials which can be used as a fuel. Understand? Plant or animal materials which can be used as a fuel are known as biomass. Okay, so it's very clear that biomass can generate energy. So when it comes to biomass, you all know that plant or animal material. Biomass means plant or animal materials which can be used as a fuel. So what type of energy is contained? Basic type of energy is contained in plant and animal materials, children. You all know that plants generate energy by doing photosynthesis, right? By producing its own food, or by photosynthesis, plants can produce its own energy. And animals use the energy produced by plants. So under sunlight or solar energy, we learn that sunlight is an essential factor for the photosynthesis process. It means plants contain the energy given by the sun. Okay, children. So plants do photosynthesis using solar energy. So the solar energy converts to the energy present in plants. So when animals consume these plants, what happens, children? That energy present in plant becomes the energy present in animals. So biomass means any plant or animal materials which can be used as a fuel. So any plant or animal materials contain that initial energy given from the sun, which means solar energy. So when it comes to biomass, what is the basic type of energy contained in biomass then, children? That is solar energy. So I told you, when we learn about solar energy is considered as the basic type of energy source. So it's very clear when we come to this biomass, the basic type of energy contained in biomass is also solar energy. Okay, children? Right. So what are the examples for biomass, children? There are examples of biomass. There are different examples for biomass. The basic example, the main example is most of the time, the main type of plant or animal materials used as biomass or as fuel is firewood. So we will write the examples. Firewood. So remember, biomass is a type of fuel, right? Any plant or animal matter that can be used as a fuel is known as a biomass. What is a fuel? Fuel is something you can burn and get energy, right? So firewood, basically in Sri Lanka, the main type of biomass used is firewood. Okay, children. So firewood is the main type of biomass. What are the other plant or animal materials that we can use as fuel, children? Or basically use as biomass? Right. You can use coconut shells. Coconut shells. Right. Even earlier I explained that by burning these coconut shells, you can make coconut shell charcoal. So this coconut shell charcoal can be used to iron clothes. Okay, children. And even you can cook food by burning coconut shells. Right? You can get energy by burning coconut shells and you can cook food, heat water as well. Right? So coconut shells are also coming under biomass. And another example is sawdust. What is the meaning of sawdust, children? So in these wood mills, these pieces of wood particles, right? Remaining wood pieces, they are known as sawdust. Sawdust is also a very good type of biomass because by burning sawdust, you can gain energy, you can produce heat energy. Okay, children. So under this particular lesson, I'm going to show you how to make a special type of cooker using this sawdust. Okay. And another one is rice bran. Rice bran. So rice bran is the outer cover of the rice. Okay. Outer cover of the rice is known as rice bran. That is also a dry substance. This dried rice bran is a very good fuel, right? And another example is we can take hay. Right? Hay means dried paddy. Dried paddy leaves. Dried paddy leaves. Right? Dried paddy leaves are known as hay. Right? So apart from, now remember children, by burning these type of substances, you can produce energy. You can use all these substances are under dry condition. Okay, under dry condition. So these type of substances can be used. We can burn them and we can gain energy. We can cook food, we can boil water, likewise. Okay, so apart from these things, we can use as a type of biomass, we can use rotten vegetables. Rotten vegetables. And also kitchen waste. Kitchen waste materials. Kitchen waste materials. So can you burn these rotten vegetables and kitchen waste materials to gain energy? That is not possible. So how do you use these rotten vegetables and kitchen waste materials as biomass? Remember children, these type of substances, kitchen waste substances, biodegradable substances can be used to produce a special type of gas called biogas. Some of you must have seen these type of biogas units, right? So what do we have to do? How do we produce this biogas using this biomass, right? Biomass can be used to produce biogas. How do we produce biogas? Using these types of biomass, children. I will explain you. We can collect these type of waste materials in a special unit, a sealed unit. Some of you must have seen this, children. Now, there's a place to insert these type of kitchen waste substances. Okay, you can insert kitchen waste substances to this tank-like unit and you can close it there. Right? So, this is a sealed unit, children. This is a sealed unit, only a limited amount of air is present inside. Understand? So remember, when the particular conditions present with the presence of a minimum amount of air inside, certain types of microorganisms can act on this biomass present inside this sealed unit. Okay, so these microorganisms can break down these food waste and other substances, and thereby a special type of gas is produced. That gas is known as biogas. The special type of gas that is produced by breaking down of biomass is known as biogas. Now, how to take out this gas? Now, this is a sealed unit. There's a small outlet to take out this biogas. Right? So, this biogas can be used to cook food. Just like LP gas, you can collect this biogas and you can use these types of biogas to cook food, to boil water like this. Okay, children. So you can, just like this, the same way you use LP gas, you can use this biogas to cook food. Understand, children? So remember, rotten vegetables and kitchen waste also come in under biomass, but you cannot directly burn them like the other substances. Now, when it comes to firewood, coconut shells, sawdust, rice bran and hay, all these are present as dried parts, dried substances. Therefore, you can easily burn them. But when it comes to rotten vegetables and kitchen waste materials, they are not present as dried materials. At the same time, you can collect these type of substances and you can produce biogas. Understand? So, biogas is also a very good fuel that you can use to cook food. Understand, children? Right. Right, children. So, biomass also contains solar energy. I explained you how this solar energy becomes the type of energy that is contained in biomass. Okay. So, sawdust stove is one example. Remember, I told you I am going to show you how to make a sawdust stove, right? We are going to do that activity now. So, sawdust stove is one example where biomass is used. Sawdust is a type of biomass. Here, rice bran or sawdust is used as biomass. So, what are the materials we need? We need an empty tin. And we need a long nail and a can opener. And we need 2 PVC tubes, 2 PVC pipes. And we need a hacksaw blade. And we need sawdust or rice bran. Let's write down these. Empty tin, long nail. We need a long nail to make this setup. We need a can opener. 2 PVC pipes. Hacksaw blade. Hacksaw blade, and here we need sawdust or rice bran. Sawdust or rice bran. So where to find the sawdust and rice bran? So you can find them easily. Sawdust can be found in wood mills. Right? They are waste materials of this. In wood mills, this sawdust is a waste material. Right? So, rice bran can be found in grinding mills, children. When it comes to grinding mills, this rice bran is a type of waste material. Okay? So, you can easily find these type of sawdust and rice bran from these wood mills or grinding mills. So, I am going to show you how to make this sawdust stove now. Okay. Method. Make a circular hole of 4 cm diameter close to the bottom edge of the tin. Right? So look at this one, the first hole. If you take the tin like this, you have to make a hole close to the bottom edge, close to the bottom of the tin. Okay, children? If you take the side way, it would look like this. Right? So this is the small hole. Now insert the PVC tube from the prepared hole into the tin. So you have to take the PVC tube. You have to use 2 PVC pipes. You have to insert one pipe like this. Okay, one pipe like this. Push it to the center of the tin and cut it, leaving 4 centimeters outside the tin. Right. Then put another PVC tube vertically inside the tin. This is that vertical PVC tube. Right. We will draw that as well. You have to draw it like this. This is how you insert. Okay, children? Then put another PVC tube vertically inside the tin and fill the tin with sawdust or rice brands. You have to fill this tin. Now you know that this L-shaped part is occupied by the 2 PVC pipes. The remaining part you have to fill with rice bran or sawdust. Understand? This should be packed thoroughly by using a piece of wood. Why do you have to do that? You have to you have to put a little amount of sawdust into this tin. Then you have to press it thoroughly using a wooden stick. Okay, then you have to add little more amount of rice bran or sawdust. Then again you have to press it thoroughly. That is because it should be tightly packed with each other. Those tiny parts should be tightly packed with each other. That is because, children, after filling this entire tin, you have to remove these 2 PVC pipes. So only if the sawdust is tightly packed inside this tin, it will remain as it is. Otherwise, when we try to remove these 2 PVC pipes, the entire amount will fall into the holes inside the sawdust stove. Okay, so that is why, to prevent that, it should like fix firmly inside the tin as we mentioned. Right, children? This should be packed thoroughly by using a piece of wood. Now remove the 2 PVC tubes carefully. Very slowly you have to do that. Right? You should not just pull out at once. Right? You should not pull out these 2 PVC pipes at once. You have to do it very, very slowly. Understand, children? So now remove the 2 PVC tubes carefully. An L-shaped hole is made inside the tin. If you remove this carefully, after removing these 2 PVC pipes, you will get something like this. Right? So, I told you an L-shaped tube should be there. L-shaped hollow structure should be there. The other entire area is filled with sawdust, tightly packed with sawdust. That's why I told you, you have to tightly pack this sawdust inside the tin. Otherwise, you cannot get this L-shaped structure. Understand? The next step. An L-shaped hole is made inside the tin and light the stove by inserting a flame from the lower end. Lower end means this end. You can light this stove by inserting a flame from this end. So you can place your pot or your pan on the sawdust stove like this. Okay, children? So I am going to show you how to make the sawdust stove in the lab. Okay, children. I explained you how to make a sawdust stove. Now this is that sawdust stove. So what are the things we need to make a sawdust stove? This is an empty tin. Right? You need an empty tin. This is that empty tin. And I told you that we have to insert 2 PVC tubes. One from here. Now this is one PVC tube. This is the other PVC tube. So you all can see what is the shape. This is L shape. Okay. So these 2 PVC tubes from inside the tin, they meet with each other. And then you have to fill this tin with sawdust. Now this is, I have already filled this one halfway. Now see, this is that sawdust. Okay, so let's fill the other half as well, children. I will put it like this. And remember, children, you have to pack this sawdust tightly. Okay. So you should tightly pack this sawdust. Otherwise, now at one point we have to remove these two PVC pipes. So when you remove that, the sawdust should not fall inside the core. Right. You can add more. So you all can see when I pack this one, it goes more and more down. Sometimes in order to pack this sawdust very tightly, if you need, you can sprinkle some water over this, but it's not essential. Right? Okay. Add a little. So you all know that the sawdust is a type of biomass. Okay. So this setup is a very simple and economical setup, a type of earth. Right. Okay. I think I have packed this enough. Now what we have to do, children, we have to remove these two PVC pipes very slowly. Okay. While turning it, you have to remove it very slowly so that the sawdust will not fall into the middle. Okay. Right. Can you all see this? I think you can see this clearly. And even this one we are going to remove very slowly. Okay. So you all can see this hole from this side, and even from the top there's a hole. So remember, I told you when we insert these PVC pipes, they meet with each other. It means these two holes also should connect with each other. Okay, let's check whether that happens. I will light this torch and I will direct that light towards this hole and we will see. Okay, right. Can you see when I direct this torch light from the side? I think it's very clear that light comes, you can see the light from the top. Right. I will give you another type of light here, blinking one. Can you see this clearly, children? So this blinking light also you can see clearly. It means it's very clear these two holes, they are connected to each other. So what happens? How are we going to use this sawdust stove, children? Now you can place the vessel or the pot on this place, right? On the mouth of this, on top of this tin, you can place the pot or the vessel. And from this end, from this hole, you are going to insert the flame. So when you insert the flame, slowly, slowly this sawdust, it will burn and it provides energy. Okay, so this sawdust is coming under a type of biomass. So it's very clear that using sawdust or type of biomass, we can get our work done. Right, children? So you observed how to make a sawdust stove. And I told you how to fill that sawdust, you have to pack it tightly inside the tin, and when you remove these two L-shaped tubes, you have to remove it very carefully. I hope it's very clear how to make this type of sawdust stove. Okay, children. So this is considered as a very economical type of stove. That is because we use waste material. As I mentioned you earlier, sawdust or rice bran, they both considered as waste materials. Right? Therefore, this is considered as an economical stove. Okay? Right. So as I told you, this is a very simple economical hearth which can be used to cook meals and to boil water. Okay? We have an assignment to do. Let's find examples where biomass is used to obtain energy. Copy the table given below into your writing book and complete it with more examples. So you can write more examples under this one. Now here only 5 examples are given, but you can continue to write with other biomass as well. Okay? So biomass and instances where it is used to obtain energy. Firewood. Why do we use firewood? Firewood we can use to cook food, to boil water. For cooking purposes, we can use firewood, right? We will write to cook food, to boil water, to boil water. Okay? And the next one, coconut shells. What are the instances we use coconut shells, children? Coconut shells now you can use to cook food. I told you coconut shells can be burnt and heat can be produced. That can be used to cook food. What else? Do you remember I mentioned you that there are some areas without electricity. They use special types of iron that they use coconut shells as fuel. Okay, so to iron clothes also another example. Let's write to cook food, to iron clothes, to iron clothes, so the third one, hay. Hay means dried paddy leaves. So how can we use paddy leaves, dried paddy leaves or hay to, what are the instances that we use? Again, I told you, you can use these type of dried substances to burn them and to get energy. Okay, so by burning these hay, we can get energy, heat energy, and we can use it to cook food, right? We will write to cook food, to boil water, to heat water. Okay, children. And the next one, sugarcane. Now, how can we use sugarcane as biomass? I told you biomass is any type of plant or animal matter that can be used as a fuel. When it comes to sugarcane, how can we use it as a biomass? How can we use it as a fuel? Remember, children, we can produce a certain type of alcohol called ethanol using this sugarcane. So, ethanol is used as a vehicle fuel. Okay, children, in some countries, they produce ethanol using this sugarcane, and this ethanol is used to run vehicles. Understand? We will write down that one. Sugarcane. So, we will write ethanol. We will write in short form. Ethanol produced. Ethanol produced is used as a vehicle engine, vehicle fuel. Ethanol produced is used as a vehicle fuel, right? So sugarcane can be used to produce a type of alcohol called ethanol. So ethanol can be used as a vehicle fuel, okay? Next one, waste matter from the kitchen. I told you kitchen waste matter and rotten vegetable can be used to produce biogas. Now these are coming under biomass, but a type of gas called biogas can be produced using this biomass. Okay, so remember children, in the upper grades you are going to learn more things about this biogas. You will learn that biogas has a substance called methane, or the chemical substance present in biogas is known as methane. Okay children, or we can call it methane gas as well. So waste matter from the kitchen can be used to produce biogas, and biogas can be used as a fuel to cook food. Okay, we will write biogas produced is used to cook food. Okay children, we'll go from the beginning. Firewood is used to cook food, to boil water. Coconut shells to cook food, to iron clothes in that special type of irons. And hay is used to cook food, to boil water. And sugarcane, by using sugarcane we can produce ethanol. Ethanol is a type of alcohol, and ethanol is used as a vehicle fuel. And waste matter from the kitchen can be used to produce biogas, and biogas can be used to cook food. So you can write other examples as well. So we learn about different types of different examples for biomass apart from these 5 different substances. You can use those other biomass also under the same table and do the same activity. Okay children? As the third type of energy source, we are going to learn about fossil fuel. What is the meaning of fossil fuel? Right. Look at this picture. What is this? This is a train. But do we use these type of trains nowadays? We don't use these type of trains. We use these type of trains many years back. Okay. So do you know how did the old train engines get energy? Nowadays, modern trains use diesel. But what about this old type of trains? How did they get energy, children? So it was produced by burning coal. So by burning coal, a large amount of heat is generated. This heat is used to boil water. So you all know that when we use a large amount of heat to boil a large amount of water, it can produce steam at very high temperature and pressure. Okay, so when we boil water using a large amount of heat at once, it can produce steam. The steam is at very high pressure and high temperature. So because of the pressure created with the steam, this pressure can be used to work these machine parts or the engine parts. So that is how these old type of trains were powered, right? So it was produced by burning coal. The heat emitted during the burning of coal was used to convert water to steam. So using the large amount of heat produced by burning coal was used to heat water. When you heat water, what happens? When water boils, steam comes out, steam produces. Okay? Then energy generated by steam was used to operate engines. So the high pressure of the steam can be used to make this engine work. Okay, so that is how these old type of engines were powered. But nowadays we use diesel, other fuels. Okay, so what about this coal? What is this coal, children? Remember, coal is a type of fuel, and these type of fuels are known as fossil fuels. So what are these fossil fuels? So when we learn about these fossil fuels, we are going to learn about fossil fuels under 3 areas or 3 parts. Fossil fuels can be divided into 3 types. Number 1, coal. Number 2, petroleum oil. petroleum oil. Another name for petroleum oil is, children, crude oil. Crude oil. Right? Remember, this petroleum oil or crude oil is a mixture of different other substances like petrol, diesel, kerosene oil, likewise. Okay, so petroleum oil. The third type is petroleum gas. Petroleum gas. So I am sure you must have heard of LP gas or liquid petroleum gas. We use LP gas in our gas cookers, right? In order to cook food with gas cookers, we have to use LP gas as a fuel. So LP gas means liquid petroleum gas. LP, liquid petroleum gas. So we collect this gas and we convert it into liquids under high pressure and we can store it in gas cylinders. Those are known as liquid petroleum gas cylinders. So LP gas. Okay, children. So coal, petroleum oil and petroleum gas are coming under fossil fuel. So where can we get these fossil fuels from? Right. So fossil fuels are accumulated under different parts of the inner earth. Different parts. You can't find these fossil fuels in anywhere. There are certain areas of the earth that we can find these types of fossil fuels. For example, in Middle East countries, in United States, in Russia, we can find areas with these fossil fuels. So what is the reason, children? We will go through this. These fuels are made from the buried plants and animals. So we also can bury plants and dead animals and we also can make these fossil fuels. Why can't we use this? Let's go through this. They are produced when this buried matter is subjected to high pressure and temperature. High pressure and temperature. Right? In different areas of the earth, there are certain parts with these required conditions. Right? In order to produce fossil fuel, in order to convert these dead plants and animals to fossil fuels, there should be a certain temperature and certain pressure. So this pressure and temperature, or these special conditions cannot be found in all the areas of the earth. Only in some areas these required conditions are there. This is the reason that we cannot find fossil fuels in all around the world. Right? So fossil fuels are limited to certain areas because of this reason. So how long does it take to produce these fossil fuels? Remember, children, this is a very slow process. This takes over millions of years. Okay? So this process takes millions of years. So what happens? Fossil fuels are made from the buried plants and animals. Buried plants and animals. So what happens? These buried plants and animals undergo, subjected to high temperature and high pressure in certain areas of the earth. And then what happens? Over millions of years, slowly these plants and animals, these buried plants and animals change into fossil fuels. Okay, so it's very clear now. Fossil fuels is a type of limited resource, right? Fossil fuel is a type of limited resource. Why is it considered as a limited resource? You should be able to tell it now. What is the reason? Number one, it takes over millions of years to produce them because it's a very slow process. And number two, the required conditions. These required high temperatures and high pressures cannot be found in all over the world. Only in some areas these required conditions are there. Understand, children? Because of these two reasons, fossil fuels are considered as a limited resource. Okay? So this process takes millions of years. Now, when it comes to these fossil fuels, now by burning these fossil fuels, we can get energy, we can produce energy. So what is the basic type of energy contained or stored in these fossil fuel? I'm sure now it's really easy to guess, because I told you that when it comes to plants and animals, the basic type of energy stored in plants and animal matter is, what is the energy, children? Yes, that is solar energy. That is because by using solar energy, plants do photosynthesis and plants can produce its own energy. By consuming plants, animals can produce energy directly or indirectly. They depend on plants and they can produce their energy. Therefore, when it comes to plants and animal matter, the basic type of energy contained is solar energy. So, fossil fuels are made by buried plants and animals. Buried plants and animals, because they are living parts, they contain solar energy. Therefore, the type of or the basic type of energy contained in fossil fuels is also solar energy. Okay, children? So this process takes millions of years. Solar energy is the stored energy in the fossil fuels too. Okay, solar energy. Okay, children? Right. So look at this picture, children. This is a petroleum oil well. Now I told you only in certain areas of the earth we can find these fossil fuels, right? So you have to extract these fossil fuels. These are the special equipment, special areas where we can use to extract these fossil fuels, right? These are known as oil wells. So what happens? I told you these fossil fuels present under these conditions: coal, petroleum oil, petroleum gas. So when it comes to petroleum oil or crude oil, it's a mixture of different substances. So after extracting this crude oil, now we have to separate. Now as it's a mixture, we have to separate petrol, diesel, kerosene oil from each other, and other substances also there. We have to separate them from each other. How do we do that? There are special factories. These are known as refineries, right? So oil refineries are the special types of factories where we can use to separate this crude oil or petroleum oil into different substances it contains, right? So after extracting this petroleum oil from the particular areas, this petroleum oil is taken to these special factories called oil refineries. So in those factories, using a special heating process, this petroleum oil or this crude oil, as I told you, is a mixture of different substances. So this petroleum oil can be separated to different substances, into petrol, into diesel, likewise. Okay, children? So this type of oil refinery is located in Sri Lanka in the area called Sapugaskanda. You must have heard of that name. In Sapugaskanda area, we have a petroleum oil refinery. Okay, children? Right. We have an assignment to do, children. Some examples for the use of fossil fuels are given below. Name a fuel or fuels used in each of these occasions. Look at the first one. It is a domestic vehicle. So when it comes to domestic vehicles or personal vehicles, what are the types of fossil fuels that we can use? We use either petrol or diesel. So what is the second one? It's a big truck. It's an industrial vehicle. When it comes to industrial vehicles, most of the time they are powered by diesel. Right, children? Number 3, what is this? This is a gas cooker. So what is the type of fossil fuel used in gas cookers? That is LP gas or liquid petroleum gas. At the same time, I told you you can use biogas as well, but biogas is not coming under fossil fuel. Okay, therefore you can't write biogas. You can write liquid petroleum gas or LP gas. Okay. What is this number 4? It's a tractor. So tractors are basically powered by diesel. Okay. What is this, children? Number 5. Now this is a type of old train. I told you in order to run these old trains, we use coal. By burning coal, we can boil a large amount of water. So when we heat water, steam is produced, and this steam or the pressure of this steam is used to operate the engine. Okay. When it comes to modern trains, now this is an old one. So under this one, you have to mention coal as the fossil fuel. But when it comes to modern trains, we use diesel, right? What is this last one, children? It is a kerosene lamp. So as the fossil fuel, we can use kerosene oil. Okay, children? So you can look at the other examples as well, and you can find more information, more instances where these fossil fuels are used. Okay? Right. We have another assignment to do, children. Petroleum is imported to Sri Lanka. Imported to Sri Lanka. I told you in our country we can't find petroleum. That is because our country doesn't have the required conditions. Okay? So in our country we can't find petroleum. Therefore we have to import it. So petroleum is imported to Sri Lanka from foreign countries. Prepare a list of countries where fossil fuel is available. You can get this information from the World Wide Web, from the internet, or from any other source. What are the other ways that you can collect information? You can read books or magazines, but the fastest way is using the web, using the internet. But if you don't have the access to the internet, you can use the atlas, which means the map book. Okay, so you will find different maps. Like in some maps, they have marked the countries where these fossil fuels are available, right? So what are the countries, children? You can find many examples for these countries. Some of these countries, basically in Middle East countries, we can find these fossil fuel. Basically, even Sri Lanka imports this fossil fuel from Middle East countries. We will write some of them. Middle East countries like Saudi Arabia. What are the other countries? Iran, Iraq, Kuwait. So these are the Middle East countries. What are the other countries? United States, Canada, and what are the other countries? Russia. Okay, so you can find many other examples as well, children. Okay, these are only some examples. You can find other examples from the internet, from the atlas, and even from the other articles, like from the books as well. Okay, children.